Hello and welcome to the webcast about the SFCT review process. I am Peter Roehrig and I'm a board member of the SFCT, the Association for the Quality Development of Solution-Focused Consulting and Training. And I'm happy to talk today with Mark McKergow, a very well-known solution-focused practitioner. Hello, Mark.
Hello there, Peter. It's great to be with you.
Yeah. We want to make the benefits and procedure easy to understand. So, Mark, you're familiar with the review process. What makes it particularly interesting?
Well, Peter, as you know, we've wondered for a long time in the SF world about accreditation and how to let people demonstrate their practice. And the conventional way in other schools of accrediting people is to see how long have you trained, or how many hours have you practiced, and so on. And we didn't want to go down that route. We've discovered some people who get SF practice very quickly, and others who can apparently study it for years without really grasping it. And so we wanted to introduce something that's more like a driving test. You'll be familiar with the idea of a driving test. The question is, can you drive? Not how long have you trained to drive, or that sort of thing. It's examining a piece of actual practical work and seeing, is this done in a solution-focused way? And we hope with this to open it up to a wide range of practitioners in organizational work, consulting, facilitating, coaching, managing, and so on.
Okay. So we prepared some slides to illustrate the process. Let's have a look at the first steps.
So the first step is the candidate should think about and document a solution-focused piece of work. And that could be all sorts of things. It could be facilitating a workshop. It could be a series of coaching engagements. It could be introducing a new management process. It could be facing an organizational change challenge in your own organization. The criteria are on the website, and they're very, very broad. The thing to remember is it has to include at least 9 hours of contact work time of doing solution-focused practice. Either they then contact the review coordinator in their specific language, and there will be review coordinators in English, which is me at the moment, in German, in Swedish and Scandinavian languages, and we hope in other languages too. And the review coordinator will talk about what makes a suitable piece of work, and help the person decide which piece of work they want to use. The review coordinators are very friendly, and it's excellent to get in touch with them at an early stage if you're thinking about doing this, to talk about your piece of work. I know they'll all be delighted to talk to you. And the candidate then pays a fee of 250 euros, which is the fee that covers some small costs of the review, and a little contribution of the time of the two reviewers. And the review coordinator then finds a suitable lead reviewer and puts the lead reviewer in touch with the candidate. And the lead reviewer has a coaching role in this. Their job is to help the candidate put the best possible submission together, ask questions, draw out all the relevant information. And so it's a very supportive relationship with the lead reviewer. And the lead reviewer then checks the documentation and works with the candidate to put together the best possible case.
That sounds very supporting, and that leads us to the next steps in the process.
Yeah. Well, after the lead reviewer has coached the candidate then perhaps reworks and completes the documentation to the satisfaction of both parties, and then the lead reviewer gets in touch with the second reviewer, and the second reviewer's role is slightly different. Their role is to act as a beginner mind, to come and look at this case afresh, if you like, without having had all the conversations and discussions, and identify and find clues of good solution-focused practice within the piece of work that's being presented. And once again, the candidate will also look and show the clues of good solution-focused practice in their work, which is all going to lead up to a telephone conference. A word about the clues. There's a current list of clues on the SFCT website at www.asfct.org, and these are clues that you might see. It's not a checklist, it's not a definition of SF practice. They're clues that could be observed that would let you know that this is good SF practice. So, well worth looking at in advance. So, a date is agreed for a telephone conference between the two reviewers and hopefully as well the candidate.
Okay, so how is it rounded up then?
Well, at the telephone conference, there's a chance for the second reviewer to ask any final questions, and then the two reviewers have a resource gossip between them with the candidate listening. And resource gossip is the reviewers talking about all the things they're impressed with about the piece of work. And this is typically 20 or 30 minutes worth of feedback and discussion in a reflecting way about the piece of work and what they're impressed with. And also ideas, other things that the candidate might have thought of or might include, and so on. And at the end of this, the reviewers decide if the piece of work shows enough SF clues to be thought of as a good piece of SF practice. If the piece of work is good enough, and hopefully after all the process it should be, the candidate then writes a summary of the piece of work to go on their page on the website. The candidate then becomes a full member of SFCT, has a page on the website, can say that they're a full member of SFCT, and can use that for marketing and recognition purposes in whatever field they are. The reviewers also add to this summary their reflections on the piece of work, and then the whole thing is published on the SFCT website for all to see. In the unlikely event that the piece of work isn't good enough after all this, then ultimately the candidate should go back and have another think and perhaps perform and document another piece of work. But we hope that by this supportive coaching process, it won't come to that, and if the piece of work is not good enough, then it won't. There will be this will emerge before we get to this point. And so finally, everything's published on the website. The candidate becomes a full member of SFCT, which is a status they can hold indefinitely, and the review is completed.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds all easy and tangible. And if anybody has further questions, just get in contact with the review coordinator in your language. The contact data are to be found on the SFCT website. Well, Mark, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you, Peter. I think this is a very exciting process, and I really like to encourage people to come forward. Everyone who's done it so far, that includes me, and I've been a lead reviewer for some other people. It's a fantastic learning experience. That's the point about this. It's a wonderful learning experience for everybody, the candidate, but also the reviewers. And of course, once candidates have been through the review process and achieved full membership, then they go on to become reviewers themselves. And so it's all about spreading good SF practice.
Absolutely. So all the best to you, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.